While on the internet, you'll find people from a plethora of backgrounds to talk to, whether they be from Africa, Europe, Asia, or beyond. And while most of these conversations will be very innocent in nature, every once in a while you will find somebody that's crying for help. And today, we're going to discuss one of those situations.
Reddit, the website that touts itself as the front page of the internet. You can find just about anything there, from memes to news to discussions about whatever you want. With over 300 million users monthly, it's no surprise somebody would use it to make a cry for help, which is what happened on June 3rd, 2018. This is when a user by the name of Just Made This Account made a post on the Confession subreddit titled, "Confession, I'm on the internet right now. I'm born, brought up, and live in a cult, so this is confession worthy." In the post, he explains he's a 19-year-old who is part of a cult that's making him sell their products on the internet. He also added he's using incognito mode as he's not allowed to be browsing Reddit, fearing that he'd be beaten if they ever found out what he was doing. The post itself was written in very broken English, leading many to believe that the poster was not a native English speaker, or that the cult he's been part of hasn't given him a proper education. Either way, it seemed genuine enough to quickly gain attention from concerned Redditors, many of which trying to gain more information about a situation, and make sure he wasn't simply another troll looking for attention. In the many replies, Just Made This Account elaborated on a few things. First of all, when asked if he wanted help escaping the cult, he said no, as he felt safer there than he would in a big city. Besides, there was nowhere else for him to go, he felt. Additionally, when people became curious what they made him sell online, he explained it included dry snack foods like nuts and berries, candles, women's skincare products, and worship materials. One detail that caught many people's eye was that he had an older sister who, quote, taught him well before she had to be married, suggesting that this cult had an incredibly tight control over the lives of its members. On top of revealing information about the cult, he also told a bit about himself. Apparently he was adopted, as he didn't know what race he was and didn't look like anyone from his family. It's not clear whether this was an actual legal adoption or just another tradition of the cult. It's certainly possible that this was an outside adoption, since he had made a post on No Stupid Questions asking how to find out what his race is, which would be a strange thing to ask if his birth parents were still in the cult with him. That being said, if it was a legal adoption, it's hard to understand what kind of adoption agency would give an active cult member a child. As the questions came in, Redditors were trying to pinpoint his exact location to help if possible. While never giving out his coordinates, he did say he was not in the United States or Europe. It didn't narrow down anything that much, but it was something. Things took an even darker turn when he made a post on a support group for victims of sexual assaults, asking if there was anyone who would be willing to talk to him privately. He later made another post on that subreddit implying that the abuser told him it would keep on happening to him in order to protect his siblings from the same fate. If everything he was saying was true, then clearly something needed to be done. Using what little information they had, Redditors went to work trying to figure out what cult he was a part of and what the best strategy was to pull him out of that twisted environment. It certainly helped that Just Made This Account seem much more open to the idea of escaping the cult as his posts went on. Perhaps his exposure to the outside world through Reddit helped him realize how bad his situation was. Eventually, he was willing to confirm that he was in Western Canada and was looking for a way to gain custody of his siblings in order to get them out with him. And quite possibly his biggest act of rebellion, Just Made This Account began posting the charcoal drawings he would make. According to him, the cult would frequently throw away his artwork as they viewed it as a rebellion against God. His art gave off a very dark and ominous tone, seemingly depicting the boy's mental state. With all this information, the widely accepted theory was that he was part of a fringe group called the 12 Tribes. Redditors came to this conclusion because they had locations in Western Canada, sold similar products to what Just Made This Account described, and had similar authoritarian rules and beliefs towards art. This was never confirmed by Just Made This Account, but it's a theory that the majority of Reddit users decided to go with. Around this same time, some truly strange things began to be posted on his account, starting with a post simply stating, "Look in the garden." After that, he began posting dozens upon dozens of Bible passages, mostly about how those who don't repent and surrender themselves to God are doomed. He also made a string of posts in subreddits such as No Stupid Questions and Christianity, all saying the same thing: buy hyssop plant fresh dry oil. These bizarre posts went on for a little over a month before his posting suddenly returned to normal. Many believe that during this time, the cult found out about his Reddit account, took it over, and began to try to change the narrative, so to speak. This theory makes the most sense, but there are a couple of things that don't add up. First of all, he posted another one of his drawings during this period, which, given what we know about them, is obviously not something the cult would do. Secondly, why would the cult suddenly stop posting on this account? It's entirely possible that he was able to simply change the password and regain control, but it's a bit strange that he never addressed it after it was done. One final post of his that I would like to touch on is a 10-minute video that seems incredibly strange. It opens with a song, presumably from the cult, about spreading the word of God across the world. The rest of it is just an informational video about visiting Japan. Things just aren't adding up. So will we ever get to the bottom of this Reddit mystery? Well, we'll find that out after a brief message from our sponsor. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. The possibilities that can be done with Squarespace are endless. You can turn your cool idea into a new website, showcase your work, blog or publish content, sell products and services of all kinds, and even promote your physical or online business. Whether you're a writer, singer, plumber, dentist, or even a YouTuber like myself, having a website is useful. With Squarespace's beautiful templates that are easy to set up, you can have a great looking page ready in no time. If you do have a problem, however, there's no need to worry since they have 24/7 award-winning customer support. A new feature that might be very helpful to you are Squarespace email campaigns. Their all-in-one platform makes it easy to unify your brand voice with fully customizable emails that let you keep your clients and customers informed. So head on over to squarespace.com/mysteries for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code MYSTERIES to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. A link will also be provided in the description down below. The last post made by Just Made This account was on November 28th, 2018. With no new information since then, many start to doubt they would be given anything else. So they went to work with what they had to try to theorize what happened. One theory was that this was nothing more than an ARG, which stands for Alternative Reality Game. With all the random posts and controlled amount of information given over time, many thought that he was merely pulling a prank for fun, hoping others would play along. It's understandable why some people assume this was an ARG, considering that cults are very popular in the genre. However, there are some flaws with this idea, the biggest being that the main point of an ARG is to tell an interactive story. If this was intended to be a fictional tale, there wasn't much to it if you think about it. The only major plot point there was for people to decipher were the string of Bible passages, but that didn't really go anywhere. If the idea of this was to have a mystery for people to solve, they didn't do a very good job. Another theory is that this was all just a kid trolling for attention, and yeah, this being the internet, I suppose that's always a possibility. However, it's worth noting that if it really was a lie, it's an odd coincidence how much of the story lined up. Maybe he did a lot of research beforehand. And that leaves us with one last saddening possibility, that it was all true. If that's the case and this is a young man in a desperate situation making a cry for help, then obviously something needs to be done. Now it's worth noting that on December 23rd, a user by the name of Go Banana Boating made a very long post, claiming that he had spoken to Just Made This account on the phone and confirmed that he is safe and living with an ex-cult family member. They also go on to say that Just Made This account has also been the target of some harassment after a video on a story made by a YouTuber called Scarce Theater went viral. After watching the video, many concluded that Just Made This account was lying to get attention, causing them to go after him. At this point it's clear we have no way of knowing if anything in this story is true or not, but you should under no circumstance go and bully Just Made This account. If this all turns out to be genuine, the poor kid has suffered enough. Go Banana Boating continued by saying that the 12 tribes theory was inaccurate, as the cult he was actually a part of is known as the Children of God. The post then goes on to cite some pretty graphic details about what the cult is known for. If this is the case, at least we know he's safe now.
While we may never actually know the truth in this case, it can be used as a good example that if you're in trouble, there are people on the internet willing to help you. So with that little thought, I think I'll end the video here. And until next time, thanks for watching.